Welcome to the Strategy Series video on using the footprint chart in trending markets. Before I begin, I want to explain a few things. The footprint is a chart just like a bar or candle chart, except that it possesses very distinct advantages. This video will focus on these advantages and the differences, since the graphical format of the footprint may be new to you. I will show you some of the things that are unique to the footprint and provide some ideas on how you may begin applying it in your trading. Keep in mind that all technical indicators and drawing tools can be applied to the footprint chart. There's nothing you cannot do with it. Everything you already use and do with your current charts can be accomplished with the footprint chart. The added benefit will be the resolution of real-time data that the footprint chart provides and the confidence acquired by seeing the footprint chart information. Make no mistake, once you see and understand the pure transparency and manner in which the footprint conveys price and volume data, you will be a believer and wonder how you've managed all this time without the footprint chart. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our first example. This is the XLF, and I have three moving averages plotted. I have a 9, a 13, and a 26 period moving average. So the first thing you can see is that just applying these simple moving averages can help you identify the trend and then follow it a little bit better on the footprint. For instance, on these retests to see if buyers step in. Another way to maybe look at this would be just using the footprint profile. And another way to change that, let me just show you. If you just double click the footprint, under footprint type, there's all these various types. Footprint profile is the one I just changed to. Click OK. And you can get an idea, just looking at it, where the volume is clustering up within each bar, as well as get an idea of the delta, whether it was positive or negative. However, for some of the stocks and even the fixed income instruments, you may find it better not to even pay any attention to the delta and just look at the pure volume and how that's coming into the market. Let me just show you real quick. One way you may consider looking at this would be under the style right here and change it from footprint to volume profile. And let's watch. You'll see basically it takes the coloring away, the delta coloring. It allows you to, it gives you that real-time picture of volume and where it's coming into the market. Okay, moving on, we're primarily going to be focusing on intraday or shorter term trends, not long-term, daily, weekly, monthly. The footprint is most suited for the shorter term market participant, those looking to capture the various swings in the market and understand what's taking place at that given point of time. In its simplest form, a great way to apply this, just using these moving averages, if you were to apply moving averages to the footprint, would be to look for some sort of breakdown underneath this on expanding volume. That would be confirmation of a break in the trend. So I'm going to change this back to the footprint, and we'll go with the footprint profile for now. And click OK. And let me just quickly describe what you're seeing within each of these bars. The color, as I've mentioned previously, is reflective of the delta, whether it was more aggressive buying or more aggressive selling at that price. The shape is, of course, the volume. And if we were to change to a bid-ask footprint, or let's just go to a delta footprint, this would show us the actual values. So this is the delta values for each price, and then this would be the bid-ask. Now, in order to probably make the most use of this, let's change, or at least let's add the delta to the bottom so we can see what's taking place. A lot of times that helps us capture or spot the trend outside of just price activity. Okay, so I've added the volume breakdown indicator to the bottom of the chart. This is just a simple volume breakdown indicator. It's in the technical indicator list. And I've changed it to the delta footprint. So you can now look down to the bottom, and again we're trying to help learn how to spot trends and qualify them. You can see that it's a positive delta almost every bar of the way as the market traveled up. It wasn't really up until it came into consolidation that you saw some selling, not real heavy, and it basically started bouncing along the moving averages while it marked time. So I'm going to change instruments now. I'm going to go to the S&P E-mini futures. And I want to change to a different periodicity, one that we haven't talked about yet. And it's a non-time based periodicity, just as an example. And let's change it to the 2500 delta. So I'm changing, each bar will be based on 2500 plus or minus 2500 delta. If you don't know what that is, then you can you could do a search on our blog or look up the delta periodicity in the knowledge base. But basically it's building each bar until the delta down here reaches plus or minus 2500. This is a great way to capture the vertical movement and rotations, meaning trends in the market. Notice how just monitoring this, you can see it was positive almost the whole rally up. And if I compress this a little bit more so you can see a little more of the chart, this combined with these moving averages, as we just saw, really kept you long almost the whole way. You didn't even see two red or two delta bars back to back all the way up until here where you got to the consolidation and you actually saw the first test of that 13 period moving average. So to recap the few simple rules we've learned here, in terms of a trend, one way to identify the trend is to note what the delta is. Are we seeing positive delta in an uptrend? Are we seeing negative delta in a downtrend? And then are we seeing it consecutively? Are we seeing consecutive bars? If I scroll back a little bit, you can see where this trend changed from a downtrend. We got the reversal. We took out the moving averages. And you can see it was up and away. This is just today. So let's take a look at where the market is currently. And you can see it's still a positive bias. We're getting a little bit of selling right here in this current bar. Another way some like to gauge the trend would be just using the VWAP, volume weighted moving average. And you can see I've added one here. It's called the VWAP indicator. It's in the technical indicator list. You can add bands, standard deviation bands to it. I haven't. I'm just plotting it. And so if I scroll back in time, it gives us at least an idea of maybe whether we should be trading from the short side or the long side. You can see we traded below it most of the day. You use the delta in conjunction with where we're at relative to these important measures, and that can help position. Notice how it bumped up against it here, and we saw this selling. If I zoom in, you can see how it traded right up against it, and then we saw the selling resume and come in. And if we change that to the footprint profile, we can get an idea of how the volume was intra-bar. So you can see the usefulness that the footprint provides. It gives you that level of transparency intra-bar that you just don't have any other way. Here we are again, up and test. Remember, keep an eye on the delta down here. This is really the first point we started to trade above it. Came back and kissed it, and then it was, they came in and started buying it. At that point, it was up and away. I'm going to go ahead and change the time frame to a range chart just to show you a different time-based periodicity. This is 1.5 range. And one of the other useful things on the footprints, and this is available in any of the footprint styles, is you notice this black outline price. That's the high volume price. And one of the things you'll notice in markets that are trending or rotating back and forth and you're getting nice vertical moves, maybe short vertical moves, but up and down or continue just up and away or down and away, it allows you to track that high volume price, and you'll see it often continue to move in the direction of the trend. When it begins to come into balance, like you did see here, or it begins to just oscillate back and forth and you're not seeing a nice continued higher and higher high volume prices or lower and lower high volume prices, then that tells you that the trend is beginning to weaken and possibly come into balance. It's a great intra-bar measure that you can track in real time on the footprint to have a better idea of what's taking place and whether not just the delta is changing, but whether the actual volume, where you're seeing volume come into the market, is it beginning to stabilize and turn or not? Another basic premise that's important to understand when you're looking at the footprints and it comes to trending markets is simply the color of the bars, the prices or the footprints within each bar. You can tell in this breakout when it took out the high, we saw real aggressive buying. We saw blue. Look at the delta down below. A spike in delta. This is healthy. Notice it continued the upward movement. That's important. That's the type of behavior we want to see. And then even on this bar here where it kind of sat and consolidated here in these few prices, we still saw buying or aggressiveness on the on part of the buyers. We saw then price take up to higher and higher levels. Ultimately, it's going to be up to you and how you specifically apply the footprint to your trading. Each of us has a unique way of doing things, and the footprint can really help. Market Delta's job is to provide you with the best tools for that job. You owe it to yourself to use the best tools out there and ones that provide you with the cleanest, most accurate portrayal of market activity. I sincerely hope the ideas presented in this video will get you on your way and allow you to begin making better use of the footprint chart and hopefully come up with some unique ideas of your own. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, and make a great day.